Some people live so deep inside their own minds, they've completely forgotten what it means to live in the real world. They feed on fantasy, create stories that never happened, and believe in them so strongly, they start confusing delusion with truth. You ever met someone like that? Someone who lies to themselves so much that they begin living in a world where everything revolves around them, where they're always the victim, always misunderstood, always the chosen one who sees what no one else can. But the truth is simple, painful, but simple. That person got lost. They disconnected. They cut the cord to reality and clung to a comfortable illusion. And the scariest part? Maybe you're doing the exact same thing right now, and you don't even realize it. Some people build a fantasy and hide inside it like a child afraid of the dark. But the thing is, it's not just pretend. It becomes a habit, a drug, a bubble made of illusions where everything feels controlled, where pain can't reach you, where responsibility feels light, where failure is always someone else's fault, where truth can be twisted, ignored, replaced. You look at that person and realize, they don't live in the same world you do. They talk like everything's fine. They convince themselves they still have time. That someday it'll all work out. That you're the one who just doesn't understand. But deep down, you know, they're running. Running from themselves. Running from pain. Running from growing up. Because facing life as it is hurts. Admitting you messed up. That you wasted time. That you hurt people. That you're not as special as you thought. That takes courage. And most of all, it takes maturity. But what do most people do? They choose to act like spoiled kids, close their eyes to the monster under the bed, and convince themselves that if they don't look, it's not there. But the monster is life, and it'll swallow you whole anyway. Hiding from reality isn't a sign of sensitivity. It's a sign of weakness, of immaturity, of someone who never learned how to deal with rejection, frustration, or limits. Of someone still waiting for the world to bend to their will. And the worst part, the more you run, the more life will chase you. Because reality doesn't disappear just because you choose to ignore it. It stays right there, collecting debts, stealing your chances, burning bridges, until one day, there's not enough illusion left to shield you from the pain you refuse to feel. So let me ask you, are you ready to grow up now? Or are you going to wait for life to knock you down and force you to grow the hard way? You might think you're safe in that little bubble of yours, but reality is watching you from the outside. And the longer you hide, the deeper you fall into the most dangerous addiction of all, lying to yourself. Yeah. Self-deception is an addiction, one of the deadliest. Because unlike alcohol, drugs, or cigarettes, this one's invisible. Worse, it wears a mask of protection. You tell yourself you still love that person, but really, you're just afraid of being alone. You swear you'll start the diet on Monday, but Monday never comes. Only more excuses. You say you're preparing to change your life, but what you're actually doing is distracting yourself, keeping busy, staying numb, waiting for a miracle you don't even believe in. And the worst part? You repeat these stories so many times, they start to sound true. You're not lazy. You're just tired. You're not stuck. You're respecting your timing. You're not wasting your potential. You're waiting for the right moment. And just like that, you build a narrative. A movie where you're the misunderstood hero. The silent genius. The victim of the system. And all of that feels nice, doesn't it? Because if it's never your fault, you never have to change. But that's childish, immature, cowardly. Because lying to yourself takes zero effort. It's the easy way out. It means you don't have to look in the mirror and say, I failed. I sabotaged myself. I'm scared. I don't want to leave my comfort zone. But have you noticed how these lies surround you? That friend who always says she can't find the right person, but pushes away anyone who gets too close. That guy who says he doesn't have time, but scrolls for hours every night. That person who insists, "I'm fine," but lashes out at the smallest thing, because they're carrying a rage they won't admit is there. These people aren't different from you. And if you think this video is about them, you might already be lying to yourself right now. Self-deception feels safe, until it starts collecting interest. And suddenly, the life you thought you had falls apart, because it was never real. It was just an illusion, built from excuses. And the cruelest part of all, the more you repeat the lie, the harder it is to hear the truth. You know someone like that. The kind of person who acts like they're operating on another frequency, who says they can't connect with most people, that they can't handle heavy energy, that they're just too sensitive. Sounds poetic, right? Sounds evolved, sounds wise. But look again. Most of the time, that's not wisdom. It's armor. It's a mask. It's ego dressed in light to avoid facing the darkness inside. That person sees themselves as so different. They start placing themselves above everyone else. They don't mix with the herd. They don't watch TV because it's all brainwashing. They avoid regular people because no one gets them. They don't hold a job because they were born for something bigger. They avoid anything that might challenge them. Because truth is, they don't want to grow. They want to hide. So to avoid looking like a coward, they dress up their fear in spirituality. But here's the raw truth. They're scared. Scared of failing. Scared of trying and falling short. Scared of facing the real weight of life. So they build a bubble filled with energy, vibration, alignment, where every form of criticism is just negative energy they need to avoid. You know someone like that, right? That relative who says their life is stuck because of ancestral karma, but never went to therapy, never faced a trauma, never followed through on anything. Or that friend who swears they don't succeed because their mission is different. But that mission never leaves their journal. And if you ever suggest a practical step, they hit you back with some nonsense about the universe preparing the right timing. The truth? These people have an excuse for every solution. If they're single, it's because no one vibrates on their level. If they're broke, it's because money is a prison for the ego. If they're unhappy, it's because they're cleansing for the next phase. And they believe it, not because they're enlightened, but because it's easier than accepting that they're just another lost soul, too scared to carry the weight of their own existence. Because real growth isn't pretty. It's not an Instagram quote. It's not a crystal. It's not a mantra. It's not a shortcut. Growth is sweat. It's failure. It's loss. It's falling on your knees with no answers. And still, getting back up. Most people who claim to be awake are just asleep with their eyes open, hiding behind pretty words, while real life blows past them like a storm. You're hearing this right now, and maybe you thought of someone. But what if that someone is you? Running from reality has a price, and it always comes due. Always. But when it finally shows up at your door, it's too late to hide behind excuses. You can keep telling yourself everything's fine, that you're in a process, that the universe has its own timing. But while you repeat those lines like empty mantras, life is passing you by. Time is running. People are walking away. Because the truth is simple. No one can live beside someone who lives in a fantasy world. Eventually, even the closest ones get tired. That friend who used to listen to you for hours? She stopped answering. That partner who used to pull you back to earth? He gave up. That family who tried to warn you? Now they're just more negative energy you've decided to cut off. You start losing people, losing chances, losing respect. Because someone who keeps running away eventually turns into a burden. And no one carries a burden forever. You start losing jobs. Because you can't take feedback. Because you think you're being undervalued every time someone expects you to step up. Because you feel attacked when you're simply being held accountable for doing the bare minimum. You start ruining relationships. Because you expect full understanding, but give zero self-awareness. Because you want your flaws accepted, but refuse to see anyone else's. Because you think you deserve unconditional love, but don't even know how to love properly. You start isolating yourself, not because no one gets you, but because no one can reach you anymore. You built such a twisted, fragile version of reality that every truth feels like a threat. Every confrontation feels like an attack. Every mirror becomes your enemy. And the worst part? You still think you're right. Because when you're lost in delusion, you don't notice the world trying to wake you up. Life tries to warn you, with subtle signs, a discomfort here, a disappointment there. But if you insist on ignoring it, it starts to scream. It pulls the rug out from under you, turns your world upside down, forces you to face everything you spent years avoiding. And no, it's not punishment, it's consequence. Because reality doesn't seek revenge, it just is. And whoever ignores what is, will be crushed by what they refuse to see. You can keep believing the world is the problem. Keep running, blaming, playing the victim. But the day you're finally forced to face everything you've been avoiding, it's going to hurt. And it's going to hurt in a way no mantra can ease. So ask yourself, are you really going to wait for life to break you? Just to accept what's been in front of you this whole time? You can spend years running. You can build an entire fantasy and live in it like it's real. But there comes a moment when the world pops your bubble in a single blow, and everything you ignored comes rushing back. Hard. The abandonment you refused to see. The emotional bankruptcy you covered with toxic positivity. The frustration you painted over with motivational quotes. The loneliness you disguised with fake spirituality. It all comes back. It all finds you. And it all demands payment. Life has a brutal way of waking you up. It hits you when you think you're already at your lowest. It leaves you alone when you most need someone. It silences every external voice. So you're finally forced to hear the only one you've been avoiding all along. Your own. And that's where the turning point happens. Not with light, not with miracles, not with magical answers, but with pain, with truth, with reality. It's on the cold ground, with no excuses, no audience, no applause, that you finally realize the only way out of the illusion is to face life head-on, to stop lying to yourself, to stop building stories that only drag you down, to stop waiting for someone to save you, and start doing what needs to be done, even if you're scared, even if you're unmotivated, even if you're not sure how. It's not pretty, it's not quick, it's not easy, but it's real. And everything real transforms you. You can keep hiding behind the same excuses. You can go back to the world you invented and pretend this video was just another edgy rant. Or you can admit, finally, that it's time to grow up, to mature, to stop running. Because if life is trying to wake you up today, it's because it still believes there's hope for you. So now the question is, are you going to keep living inside a comfortable lie? Or are you ready to face a painful truth that just might set you free? Mental rebellion. This isn't motivation. It's war.